Let's bring in Ed Bastian,
Hey,
Chairman and CEO of Delta. You're announcing your 2020 guidance. Let's talk a little bit about the numbers, because what you're projecting here is some solid growth both on the top and the bottom line.
Yeah, demand is great. We've had a wonderful 2019, in fact, arguably the best year in Delta's history in 2019. Demand throughout the holidays has been strong. The Sunday that we just finished after Thanksgiving was our highest revenue day in our history, almost $200 million of revenue in that one day alone. And as we look through the holiday and look through into 2020, we see that solid demand continuing. The U.S. consumer is doing well by us. We're projecting revenue growth next year of between 4% and 6%.
And you were also looking at, what, $4 billion in free cash flow?
Yep.
So you've got the free cash flow coming through. Yep. You're raising, in terms of earnings, your projected guidance, 675 to 775. So yep. The midpoint moves higher. Yep. Where do you see the strength overall? I mean, obviously, you mentioned everything is strong right now from your perspective. But is there one area that you're looking at and saying, I think this is the area that we're seeing the greatest strength?
It's the U.S. It's the U.S. consumer. It's about 70% of our business is in the U.S. And the U.S. consumer spend is strong. Our business spend is strong. Our preference for our brand is greater than we've ever seen. Our Net Promoter Scores are at all-time highs. And as we look at continuing to invest into that momentum into the new year, $4 billion of free cash is great. We expect to get that. That's going to be our new baseline that we measure going forward, that $4 billion of free cash flow return, which basically is for our owners.
Next year in the industry, you've got the 737 MAX expected to come back, adding more capacity. There was a theme maybe 6 months ago in the industry, oh boy, we're going to have too much capacity here. Do you think people have dialed back those concerns and are now saying, wait a second, this is not going to be as dilutive as people thought when it comes to too many seats coming back into the system?
Well, it's certainly an uncertainty for all of us as to when it's going to come, how it's going to be feathered in. But you're right. There's no question this is going to be a gradual reinduction of the aircraft. We don't have the MAX, as you know. So
right.
we don't believe we got a material benefit in 2019 from not having the MAX. We don't think we're going to be at material risk in terms of when the MAX comes back in 2020. Demand is strong, and I think there's plenty of aircraft out there to serve that need. And
we're not going to likely see a huge impact in terms of fares. People concerned that there's too much capacity there.
I don't see that.
Internationally, LATAM was a huge agreement for you guys, and I think you announced it about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Internationally, are you comfortable with what you're seeing in terms of demand?
International is a bit more choppy. With Brexit and what's going to happen in the UK is always one of the concerns we have. But across the board, we're seeing growth. One of the things about our plan in 2020 is we're going to be posting growth in every region of the world in terms of our capacity. Some years you're up and some years you're down. But next year, we're all in Europe. The LATAM deal is phenomenal. We're real excited about our partnership with our partners down in Chile, as well as Korean. We closed a deal earlier this year to own 10% in Korean Air, and that move to Seoul, out of Narita to Seoul, is also benefiting us.
China is always a wild card, especially with everything going on with the trade talks. Any residual impact concerns as you look out over the next year?
Not in a meaningful way. China is relatively small for us in terms of total revenue contribution. It's in the low single digits. Sure. So I don't think that's something that's going to, again, be one of those things that's a material risk to the company.
Now, today you guys are also announcing a new partnership with Wheels Up. Tell me a little bit about how this is going to work out for your frequent flyers, especially those at the very high end who may be somebody who could benefit from perhaps going with Wheels Up for a certain trip.
Yeah, we're excited to do the deal with Kenny and the Wheels Up team. We're essentially going to be merging our Delta private jets into the Wheels Up platform, and we'll come away as an equity investor and owner in the new company. It's a way for us to extend our brand and extend our ability into a new space. We're not going to have it stuck as DPJ is kind of under Mother Delta. It's going to be alongside Delta so that we can actually enjoy the benefits and kind of have a lot more transparency and growth opportunities for both brands. Kenny's team's done a great job of building what I call the democratization of private aviation. It will be one of the largest, if not the largest, private aviation fleets out there, almost 200 airplanes that both owned and managed. And we think there's a great opportunity to make private air travel more affordable, more accessible.
How will that work out for a Diamond Elite member who says, hey, look, I have a particular trip coming up. Will you guys then say, here's an opportunity with Wheels Up? How will that work out?
Well, we're going to offer opportunities for all of our strong customers to be Wheels Up members in one of their membership programs, and thus they'll have access to that fleet of airplanes that we have, and they'll be able to interchange, whatever size aircraft they need, whether it's in the King Air fleet or a Delta, 737-900. We're going to be able to go back and forth and interchange. It's going to be very exciting.